That night, the rain did not fall like water. It felt like punishment. A thin boy caught himself under a broken bridge, hugging his knees as thunder cracked across the sky. His shirt was torn, his slippers long gone, and his stomach cried louder than the storm. His name was Sam. He was 12 years old, and he had no home. Sam did not always live under a bridge. Once, he had a house. Not a good one, but a house. A place where he used to hope that maybe, just maybe, things would get better, but his parents were not the kind who built dreams. His father, John, was known in the street, not for kindness, but for trouble. Fighting, shouting, drinking. Every night was noise and anger. His mother, Rose, was not any different. She carried her own storms, always arguing, always blaming, always tired of life. Their house was never quiet. Plates broke. Words cut deeper than knives. And in the middle of it all was Sam, a small boy who learned very early that love was not something every child receives. One evening, everything finally broke. John slammed the door and shouted, "I'm done with this house." Rose fired back, "Then leave." "I don't care." Sam stood in a corner, shaking. He had had these fights before. But this one felt different. This one felt like the end, and it was. That night, his father left. The next morning, his mother packed a small bag, looked at Sam with tired eyes, and said words that would follow him forever: "Take care of yourself." Then she walked away, just like that. No goodbye. No promise to return, nothing. At first, Sam waited. He sat by the door for hours. Then days. Maybe she would come back, maybe she forgot something, maybe she still loved him, but the door never opened again. Hunger came quickly. The small food left in the house finished. The neighbors ignored him. Some pitied him, but pity does not fill an empty stomach, so Sam did the only thing he could think of. He left. The street became his new home. At first, it was scary. Cars rushed past. Strangers looked at him like he didn't belong. Nights were cold. Days were long, but hunger is a powerful teacher. He started going from one junction to another, looking for anything that could bring him money. He began picking condemned iron, rusty pieces of metal people threw away. He would carry them to scrap buyers and earn just enough to buy a small meal. Sometimes, he went to the market. "Help me carry this," traders would say, and Sam would run, lifting loads bigger than his body. His legs would shake, his hands would hurt, but he would not stop, because stopping meant hunger, and hunger was worse than pain. At night, he returned to his bridge, the same cold floor, the same hard sleep, the same empty sky above him. Sometimes, he watched other children pass with their parents, laughing, eating, living the life he never had, and quietly, he would whisper, "Why not me?" Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. Sam grew thinner, but stronger, sadder, but wiser. He learned how to survive without anyone, but deep inside, he was still just a child who wanted to be loved. One afternoon, something unusual happened. Sam was helping a woman carry a heavy basket in the market. His hands were shaking, but he refused to drop it. When he finally set it down, breathing heavily, the woman looked at him carefully. "What is your name?" she asked. "Sam," he replied softly. "Where are your parents?" Sam looked down. "I don't have anyone." The woman paused. Something in his voice was not just pain, it was truth. Her name was Mary. And that day, she made a decision that would change everything. "Come," she said gently. "You don't have to sleep under a bridge tonight." Sam hesitated. Life had taught him not to trust easily, but something in her eyes felt different. Not pity, not judgment, just care. That night, for the first time in a long time, Sam slept on a bed, a real bed, with food in his stomach, and a roof over his head. He didn't sleep immediately, he just lay there, staring at the ceiling. As tears slowly rolled down his face, because sometimes, the hardest thing to believe, is that life can get better. Mary didn't just give him food, She gave him something he had never truly known, a chance. She enrolled him in school, bought him clothes, taught him kindness, showed him patience, and slowly, Sam began to change. The boy who once searched for iron in the streets began to search for knowledge in books. Years passed, Sam grew, not just in age, but in purpose. He worked hard, studied harder, and never forgot where he came from, because pain has a way of shaping greatness. If it doesn't break you first, one day, Sam stood in front of a group of children just like he once was, homeless, forgotten, broken. He looked at them and smiled gently. "I know how it feels," he said. "I've been there." The boy who once slept under a bridge had become a man who built bridges for others, and somewhere, in the quiet of his heart, he no longer asked, "Why not me?" Because now, he knew the answer. Sometimes, life breaks you, not to end your story, but to give you one worth telling.